Hi everyone, how you doing today? Real estate ladies of North Atlanta, Mary Ellen Vanakins, Susan Jennings. How you doing today, Sue?
I'm doing great. How are you, Mary Ellen?
I'm doing great. So today we're going to discuss a couple things: how to sell your home the right way in the North Atlanta area. Then we're going to talk about a community that we in Roswell, Georgia, and we're going to do what we love about North Atlanta. And then last, we're going to do our design tips of the day. So let's fire away. We're going to start with the neighborhood called Aster,
hmm
Brightwater Homes in Roswell, Georgia. So
Great.
tell us about this, Sue, this community.
So, Aster by Brightwater Homes is located right off of Cox Road. There are 24 homes in this subdivision, and they're priced starting at 1.6 million. These homes are designed for modern living, and they all have a Scandinavian inspired design. So they all coordinate together. It's a adorable enclave where you can have your friends and neighbors and sit at the fire pit in the neighborhood under the stars. Let your kids explore while you have a great social time with your neighbors. There are also nature trails nearby. There's a pond nearby. But the architecture is really delightful, and it's a masterful mix of materials, colors, and palettes, and they just embrace the beauty of the trees in the area and the green spaces with lots of natural light and beautiful views. So they also have designer created interiors. They took every detail into consideration to create just a beautiful, beautiful home. It's also a sustainable living community, so that the homes they deem are healthier to live in, and they really respected the environment when they were designing these, building these, and so forth. So that's why Aster is considered a net zero energy community. So it combines smart use of energy, conservation minded design and development in a beautiful landscaped area with regionally sourced materials, high performance systems, and it's just a healthier, comfortable home for you to live in with less impact on the environment.
Well, that is so cool that they're starting to do those type of things in the
hmm
Atlanta area. And what I would say about Cox Road and that whole area in Roswell, it is the location's amazing.
hmm
It's close to all the shops, the highway, so it's really a great location. So good for them to start one of those kind of communities. I
hmm
know a while ago some of these communities started. I know in other parts of the country they're very, very popular. Here we just
hmm
haven't seen them as much. So this is maybe this is the diamond in the rough, especially if you're looking for that kind of neighborhood. So thanks for telling us about this neighborhood in Roswell.
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
what we're going to do, Mary Ellen, is go visit it and
we
take some
are.
videos and also post videos out on our YouTube channel and so forth.
That'll be fun. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about how to sell your home the right way in the North Atlanta area. So that's an interesting topic. How do you sell your home the right way?
Well, first of all, pricing is so important. You've got to price your home correctly. I know everybody wants to get the most amount of money in the least amount of time for their home, but the best way to do that is to do your research, and that's what an experienced agent like Mary Ellen and myself can help you with, to research the comps and competitively price your home so that it stands out from everybody else. Taking into consideration those comparables as well as the current market conditions, and also, pricing your home correctly nets you more money in the long run. That's statistically proven, and also, gets you a quicker sale on your
Yeah.
home.
And I think what's so important about pricing too that people don't understand is that, every week pricing can change. Like
hmm
so there could be something that goes up in the neighborhood and goes fast and it's a lower price. So that's going to affect your property. So you always have to be watching the market every single week. We give an update weekly to our sellers on what's going in the market. We take the data, we take the information, and then we let them know what's going on. So we don't have crystal balls. We can't say exactly what's going to happen, but every week we will evaluate where the market is at that moment. So that's number one. All right. What's number two?
Number two is don't underestimate the importance of enhancing your curb appeal. So this is not just, mowing your lawn and trimming your bushes, which of course you should be doing before you list your home, but it's also painting that front door, making sure your shutters are painted, that if your mailbox is dilapidated, putting a new mailbox out at the curb and making sure the numbers are all on there, that we're not missing a number on your mailbox. But all of this can boost the appeal of your home as people drive the neighborhood and drive down the street.
Also, like if there's too many trees that are blocking your house or anything like that. And, of course, most people like to list their house in the springtime, but you can list your house any time of the year and it just looks different. Just make sure everything's clean, and always put some fresh flowers, a pot of flowers on the front porch to make it inviting to come in. So curb appeal is great. What's number three?
Number three is staging your home. So I have a lot of opinions on staging homes, and I do this as a complimentary service for a lot of our sellers. And so first of all, I talk about the 3Ds. The 3Ds are deep cleaning, decluttering, and depersonalizing the home. So a lot of times, really removing pieces is adding more. So less is more in this situation. So you want to make sure that buyers can potentially see their family living in the home and that they're not looking at your family photos and they're not being distracted by all your extra things on the end tables. Plus, if too much furniture is in the room, it will make the room look smaller. So a lot of times I do recommend that certain pieces of furniture just simply leave the space.
Less is better. And I think also when you're looking at staging too as well, we all live in our house and show our house in two different ways. So even the person who is really neat and clean, they're still going to have to take some stuff out of their house in order to stage it to look great for photography, for showings, and just having that. So remember, photography, well, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but photography, remember that your house is being seen so many times online nowadays before they even walk in the house. So you want to make sure that it's staged properly for your photography.
Right. So that brings us to number 4, and that is to use professional, high quality photography and videography. So we want to make sure that the home is captured in its best light and that it is shown correctly online with the photos and the videos. We also provide virtual tours if possible. And, it's such a competitive market that listing your home correctly and showing it correctly, online and having these great visuals is so important in attracting potential buyers.
Yeah. And a statistic that we also give our sellers is how many views online. So nowadays, that's just another statistic we're seeing is that you're seeing these properties online first. So you're making your first showing is actually online, believe it or not. The second showing is when they come in and physically see the house. Right. So you have to entice people to come into the house. So having those professional photography and the videography and everything really will make a difference in showing your house and selling it quickly.
Right. So it brings us to number 5 on our list, which is marketing the home aggressively. And this is something that our team does a very good job of in terms of a comprehensive marketing plan, which would include not just the online listing, but social media promotions, open houses, traditional methods of flyers and direct mail are something that we also use intermittently. We take each home individually and we give it the most exposure that we can to market that home aggressively.
Yeah. And another thing that we do that most agents do not do is we prospect for your home. So like we're going to look at the agents that sell in that area. as soon as we list it, we're going to call them and tell them about it. If we see people looking at it from our MLS, we're going to reverse prospect to those agents and say, hey, you have a client looking at our property. What do we need to do to get them in to see it? So we're also going that extra mile that most people don't. We are hunting every day for a buyer for your property. I love that, because we're like hunting. We're out there hunting, and we're calling and we're prospecting.
Right. And that brings us to number 6 on our list, and that's to be flexible with showings. I know showings can be annoying to some people, especially if the home sits on the market a little bit of time, but we encourage our sellers to accommodate showing schedules. We also, encourage agents to be flexible on the other end as well, to, not always interrupt your dinner time and that sort of thing. But we want the most opportunities for buyers to see your home, and it will sell quicker if you're allowing the showings and you're confirming the showings. We also consider doing virtual showings for out of town buyers, which can include video and so forth, and walkthroughs of the property.
Yeah, and I think everybody's different. So we will talk with our sellers and we will say what works for you the best. I mean, if we have to only do an all weekend open house to get the people in there, that's what we're going to do. If it's time constraint because of work, we're going to just work around those schedules. You have to be flexible, except we always have a solution to any kind of problem you might have with showings.
Mm-hmm. So number 7 on our list today is to make any necessary repairs and upgrades prior to listing your home. So, if it's obvious to you that a wall needs to be painted or something needs to be repaired, like a broken window, for instance, we encourage and advise our clients to take care of any noticeable repairs prior to listing their home. We always encourage new fixtures, new paint, because a move-in ready home is going to be more appealing to buyers, and it can also bring a higher price and sometimes multiple offers.
Yeah, and I think also a lot of times we have clients that are like, "Hey, I'm gonna probably list my house in a year. Okay, can you come over now and let me know what you think I should do to the property to get the most amount of money?" So remember that sometimes repairs and those type of things do take some time. So really schedule that time and to get it done, because getting contractors out and getting bids, and it does take a lot of time out of your schedule. So some people will be prepared time before. And then just another thing that I do suggest, that if you feel like there's a lot of repairs that need to be done on the house, get a home inspection done before you list, because then you have the list right there and you can have your handyman come out and do those specific items. Because when a buyer is going to buy your house, they're going to have a home inspection anyway, and they're going to come up with items, and probably different items than what you come up with, because every inspector comes up with different items. But at least if there's anything major, you want to get that done before you list.
Right. And in the situation where we've got somebody who wants to list their home, but for whatever reason can't make those repairs, then they need to be reasonable with how we price the home, taking into consideration what those repairs will potential or upgrades will potentially cost a buyer. So we have to price the home appropriately. So you may not be getting the same price as somebody who down the street who put in that new kitchen or put in that new bathroom, or has new flooring, that sort of thing. So we take all of that into consideration when we look at the comparables and pricing as well. So the next item on our list today is that we like to highlight unique selling features of a home, such as energy efficient appliances, smart home technology, proximity to schools and amenities. Any of these details can make a home stand out from the rest of the market. And we do take that into consideration and make sure that somebody, our buyers are aware of what those features are when we're listing a home.
Yeah, and different parts of the country have different amenities. So when I know we both moved here from the north. So when we moved here, we didn't know what is a subdivision with swim, tennis, playground, pickleball, all that stuff. So I think you have to adjust to the amenities you're looking for. Everyone's always looking for proximity to Home Depot and Lowe's and Costco and shopping and schools. So remember, look at those amenities that you think that someone say, oh, it's not that popular. But how many times do we get questions of, I have to be within 10 minutes of a Lowe's or Home Depot or Costco. That's a must. I must be within 10 minutes of a drive. So look at those great amenities that you might think are not really great amenities, but actually people are looking for that.
So number 9 is something that I like to work very diligently for my clients on. It's being prepared for negotiations. Negotiations are so important, and that we want to make this, a good experience for everybody on both sides of the transaction. And so I always encourage people to stay open-minded and flexible, because there's nothing worse than having people that will not bend on both sides of the transaction, because that is the fastest way to kill a transaction and a potential buyer seller transaction, and the home is just not going to close.
Yeah. Negotiations is always you're always going to have to negotiate something, whether it's time or money or length of time of closing. So there's always a lot of things to negotiate. You want a good negotiator on your side. You also everything's negotiable in this world. So remember, just be open-minded when it comes to negotiations. And I think that that's a really important fact that we all need to consider, that negotiation, everything's negotiable.
Number 10, and the last item on our list today, is working with a knowledgeable real estate agent. Mary Ellen and I combined have over 30 plus years of experience, but it's so important to work with an educated, knowledgeable real estate agent in the North Atlanta area. It's important that someone knows how to handle negotiations efficiently and effectively, just like Mary Ellen and I just talked about, and guide the entire process to a successful closing, because that's ultimately, what the goal is here.
And paperwork. So let's look at paperwork. So paperwork's really important. Contracts, you need someone who's knowledgeable about contracts, not an attorney, actually an agent who does it all the time. Yes, an attorney can oversee everything. We use the Georgia forms, but you could click something or check something and you can get yourself in trouble. So you want to make sure somebody knows what they're doing, is in it full time, and has experience in writing contracts, because this is one of the biggest assets that most people deal with in their lifetime, is buying or selling a house. And you want somebody who knows what they're doing. I think that that's
right. And it's very important, I think, to use those GAR, Georgia Association of Realtor forms. They are designed to protect the clients, unlike these forms that some of these for sale by owner sellers are downloading off the internet and all. They're not quality forms, and you can get into so much trouble using those forms.
Yeah. So, just use a professional when you're buying or selling for the advice and to get it done and get it to the closing table. Because a lot of times there's so many stories we can tell of people, not using an agent and then coming and crying and saying, help, help, help. And they're in a mess and they got to get themselves out of it. And, so I think we gave 10 good tips on how to get your house sold. Anything else you want to add to this little mix here today?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. If anybody has any questions, they can certainly reach out to us and contact us, and we'll be happy to answer their questions.
Okay, great. So let's go on to our next fun thing. We talk about what we love about the North Atlanta area. And today we're going to talk about dining. So Sue's going to tell us a little bit about the dining, and then we can just go crazy over dining.
Well, Atlanta, Georgia is definitely a foodie town. There are so many wonderful restaurants here in Atlanta, and Atlanta is actually known as the culinary capital, and it's been praised by national media outlets and food critics for its thriving food scene. In 2023, the Michelin Guide awarded Atlanta 10 Bib Gourmands, 5 1-stars, 2 green stars, and noted the city's quality, creativity, and flavor. Wallet Hub also named Atlanta one of the top 20 foodie cities in the United States in 2023, and based on factors like affordability, accessibility, and diversity.
Wow. So, I mean, I think you can get any kind of food you want to in Atlanta. And I think that I think a lot of people like to go locally to close to places where they live. And they have their go-to restaurants. They probably have 5 go-to restaurants, and then they'll go out and go to different parts of Atlanta and maybe go to dinner with friends here and there. So you're not going to lack in food here. Any kind of food. And I think the world's kind of gotten a little foodie itself, don't you think? With the Food Network and everything else, I think people are expecting more when they go out to dinner. They're expecting more of an experience, right? When you're going out to dinner. So just really that experience of like, wow, good example. I had some agent friends in town last week, and they were from South Carolina. And I'm like, okay, they're like, where are we going to, let's go to dinner. Okay. And I'm like, where should I go? Where should we go? So I took them to a place, an Italian restaurant that we all know and love called Casa Nuovo. And basically they were blown away about the experience of the restaurant. Besides the food being fantastic, it's in Alpharetta. I think what they really, I wanted to show them how we show our clients an experience through the real estate world. I wanted to show them an experience of dining in the Alpharetta area. Right. So I think you have to look at this, and you look at all the restaurants, there's so many of them, like Connor's. I mean, we could just name them till we're blue in the face of how many great restaurants in Alpharetta that are experience restaurants. They're just not, what are some of your favorite restaurant experiences lately?
Well, what I like to do is encourage my friends and my family to always try one new restaurant every single month, because it's so easy to get into the habits of going to the same places all the time that I think it's important to do a little bit of research and make it a special outing at least once a month to try something new and different that you haven't done before. The other thing that I think is great here in the Atlanta area as far as food is breakfast. There are so many places here that they're only open like breakfast until about 2 p.m., but you can go to a different little breakfast restaurant every single day here. It's really amazing how Atlanta has really embraced breakfast.
Yeah, and I think going to the mom and pop shops, you know what I mean, that are not the chains, even though the chains are good, but going to those mom and pop and supporting local, which we love to support local, I think is great. But I love that tip of the day. Let's talk about that once a month, you need to go out to a new restaurant, try out a new restaurant, and just compare the experiences you have between restaurants, because you can go to a Greek restaurant and have an amazing experience, that an Indian restaurant, you can go for sushi, you can go for Mexican, and you're always going to have a different type of lifestyle experience. So what we love about North Atlanta is the dining. So now we're going to go into our design tip of the day. And Sue, what are we going to talk about design-wise today?
Well, I actually have 3 design tips today. Ooh. So today's a bonus day. But the first one is we're going to talk about wood stains. So wood stains can be a little overwhelming. You can get sheer, like a medium opaque or a totally opaque stain for your wood. But if you're talking about floors, for instance, you
Mhm.
need to know what kind of wood that you're staining, whether it's white oak, red oak, whether it's pine, cedar, and you need to be very, very aware of undertones that different woods can pick up. So like red oak tends to pick up a lot of orange and red as an undertone, and that can affect the entire room. It almost, like the orange can almost glow, and it'll throw off your decorating if you're, not aware of that before you stain your floors or stain the piece that you're looking at. So my recommendation is always to stick with something timeless. It'll make the space easier for you to decorate ultimately. And, just make sure your stains are consistent from room to room. One thing that really is distracting to buyers is if each floor or each stained floor in a room or in a house, if each room is different.
Mhm.
So you don't want to have mismatched stains in your house. It's going to throw the entire design off, and it will also throw potential buyers off.
Yeah, stain. Yeah, definitely stain. And people are going, I guess, trending more towards the darker walnut and the darker colors now because they don't like the orange undertone. Like everyone's doesn't want the lighter wood floors anymore.
Well, yeah, but white oak is making a big comeback, especially like
Oh,
for kitchen cabinetry and so forth. It's different from red oak because red oak had those oranges and reds, where
yes.
white oak does not. So that is the one floor tone that we're starting to see a lot of, especially in new construction where there's a lot of white walls, high ceilings, things like that.
And the
So
white
my
oak is coming out. Yeah,
Mhm.
I like that.
Right, right. So the second design tip of the day is to resist pushing all your furniture up against a wall. It's
Mm.
okay to actually float your sofa in the middle of the room and so forth. The room will actually look bigger and you'll have a cozier seating arrangement if you are floating your pieces of furniture in the middle of the room. And it actually creates kind of a wow moment, and it makes the movement around your room a little bit more cohesive because people aren't always cutting through the middle of your conversation space to get from one end of a room to another because they can walk around the pieces then.
Yeah, and I think that's a good tip because there's so many open floor plans now, so there's not a lot of wall space. And if you have wall
Mhm.
space, people are putting more of their big TVs on the wall space, and then the other space is like windows. Like we have a wall
Mhm.
of windows, so ours can't be against a wall anyway. But I'm just saying, like with all the open floor plans that we're seeing in the market, that's a great advice.
Mhm. And the third is just a kind of a fun tip. Don't forget that fifth wall. The fifth wall is your ceiling. You can really make a statement by doing something fun on a ceiling in like a powder room or a smaller space. And it's such an unexpected choice that it's surely to catch everybody's attention.
Interesting. So what are we seeing on ceilings? Like I know in the olden days, right? They used to have like a sky on the ceiling, like
Right.
in a powder room, and you're like, oh, that's so interesting. I'm not sure if that's my take or whatever.
Mhm.
And then what I really do like is all like the wood beams that are going in
Mhm.
all the rooms, like in the family rooms, in the uh, you know bedrooms. You're seeing so much stuff on the ceilings, whether
Right.
it's molding, whether it's wood. And I just think that's kind of cool.
Right, it really is. It adds a nice texture to the room. It also warms up the space. So it's just something to consider. I did see a really cute room recently that had almost like a gold metallic and a white diamond print on the ceiling. And that's all it was decorating that room. And it was
Nice.
kind of nice because it left the rest of the room feeling airy and spacious.
Nice.
Just
Well,
a,
that's awesome.
Mhm.
Thanks for all our tips, so design tips of the day, and thanks for tuning in to the Real Estate Ladies of North Atlanta. We do have an Alpharetta Milton weekly news that goes out every single week. Let us know if you're interested in that. It tells about all the events that's going on in the area, and also follow us on social media. And we'd love to, if you need anything, we're here to help. Have a great day. Thanks, Sue.
Thank you. Bye.